The silence of the Seville convent was different. It wasn't the peace of God, but the echo of a self-imposed exile. For 7 years, Yasmin had hidden there, among white walls and the monotonous routine of prayers. At 20, she was the youngest among the sisters, but she already bore the marks of someone who had lived a lifetime of fear. Her hands, calloused from working in the vegetable garden, trembled at the slightest noise. Sleep came with nightmares, and peace was a blessing she never truly attained. Her soul wasn't there. It was trapped in a distant night, in a golden palace where a young woman's fate was sealed. She was the only one who knew the truth. But what could she do with a truth that, if spoken aloud, could kill her? Life in the convent was a refuge, a tomb where she could hide, and devotion, her only penance. The penance for having seen and, above all, for having remained silent. Sheikh Tariq's palace was a labyrinth of luxury and secrets. Yasmin was one of the maids, a ghost who moved through the shadows, with her head down and eyes on the floor. It was the only way to survive. But on that night, fate forced her to look up. The light in the sheikh's room was off, but a muffled sound from the hallway broke the silence. It wasn't a scream, but an interrupted sigh, the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. Yasmin, terrified, ran and hid behind a thick curtain. From there, she saw the scene that would haunt her forever. 2 guards, with hard, empty faces, dragging the sheikh's body. He was still, heavy, like a lifeless doll. Inside the room, Amara, the new wife, was motionless on the bed. Pale, with her eyes fixed on the ceiling, she seemed in shock, as if she had seen a ghost. One of the guards saw her, but his gaze was empty. "You saw nothing. You know nothing," he whispered, his voice cold as ice. Yasmin lowered her head, but her stubborn eyes caught sight of something on the floor that the guard's hand had left behind. A letter, folded and sealed with Tariq's own crest. It was a sign, a message, and, even in her silence, Yasmin's voice was screaming inside. In the silence of her quarters, Yasmin opened the letter. Tariq's handwriting was precise and elegant, but the content was distressing. "If something happens to me tonight, let it be known. Silence can be crueler than any pain. The marriage was not consummated, and the lie will come to destroy the one I could not have." Yasmin didn't understand everything, but she understood the fear. She tucked the letter into the pocket of her apron, the thick, dirty fabric hiding a piece of paper worth more than all the gold in the palace. She thought of giving it to Amara. She thought of burning it, but the terror of being discovered made her stay silent. 2 days later, she was fired. No explanation, just an envelope with money and a cold look from the housekeeper. "Go, and forget what you saw." Yasmin fled, first to Seville, then to Cordoba. She changed her name, her address, her face. She worked as a seamstress, her life pieced together with patches, with a letter tucked under her pillow. But the escape was in vain. Fear found her. A black car began to follow her. A man, with a newspaper covering his face, stood on the other side of the street. One night, returning home, her door was broken down. Nothing was stolen, just a warning, carved into the wood of the door. Some memories must remain dead. The convent was the only door that opened for her. 7 years later, Malik ibn Hashid found her name, not by chance, but by a meticulous search. He sifted through old palace records, flipped through service notebooks, and finally, on the list of employees from the year of his father's death, he found Yasmin's name. A common name, but one that piqued his curiosity. And when he discovered that the maid had been mysteriously fired just 2 days after his father's death, suspicion turned into certainty. He didn't look for her with the arrogance of an heir, but with the precision of a hunter. A note arrived at the convent. "If you know the truth, the time has come to tell it." Yasmin read the message and cried. The tears soaked the hands that trembled so much. It wasn't just Malik looking for her. That same night, the convent door was broken down. It wasn't the sheikh's son. It was the ghost of the one he wanted to avenge. It was someone who wanted to silence her once and for all. Yasmin fled once more, but now with a new purpose. The letter. She sought out an old lawyer, a man her late father had trusted. He read the contents and paled. "This could change everything, or destroy what's left," she whispered, her voice heavy with pain. "If it's to free the one who was trapped, ... let it be destroyed." Leaving the office, Yasmin felt the danger. The shadow that was pursuing her was too close. She needed a plan. At the train station, she spotted a woman with a blue scarf in her hair. The woman's eyes were lost, tired, but something in her expression made Yasmin certain she was the right person to trust with the letter. "Please, ... if I don't come back by tomorrow, give this to the name on the envelope." The woman hesitated. Distrust was her only defense, but the urgency in Yasmin's eyes was so desperate that the woman, against her better judgment, took the letter. The letter changed hands, and Yasmin vanished into the crowd. In a distant place, in an elegant hotel suite, a middle-aged woman read the news on a tablet. Zafira, the eldest of Tariq's daughters, a cold and ruthless woman. She had followed in her father's footsteps, building an empire in the business world. Zafir had learned of Malik's search for Yasmin, and in a risky move, decided to eliminate her. The letter could not come to light. Her father's unconsummated marriage was a family secret, a shame that would tarnish the Ibn Hashid legacy. Yasmin was attacked, and the letter was taken. But in Yasmin's pocket, there was an extra envelope, a copy. Zafira discovered this and, in a fit of rage, ordered her team to find her again and take the copy. The game had become a hunt. The next day Malik received a call. Yasmin is hospitalized, found unconscious in an alley, but still breathing. The letter, gone. They, found me, she whispered, with difficulty. But the truth, it still lives. Malik felt a wave of fury, not just against whoever attacked her, but against himself, for having put her life at risk. He looked at her, frail and hurt, and felt a connection he hadn't expected. She wasn't a witness. She was a victim. At the hospital, while the doctors examined her, Malik realized something. Yasmin's story wasn't just about a letter. It was about the weight of silence, about the cost of truth. The woman with the blue scarf, where did she go? Malik needed to find her, before she became the next victim. In a modest cafe, the woman with the blue scarf opened the envelope. Her name was Sophia, and the letter was from Malik ibn Hashid. The text was simple, but direct. If you know the truth, the time has come to tell it. Sophia frowned. She didn't understand what was happening, but she knew that letter was the key to something dangerous. Meanwhile, Malik entered the cafe. His eyes scanned the place, looking for a woman with a blue scarf in her hair. He saw her, sitting at a table in the corner, with a letter in her hand. He approached slowly, sat down in the chair opposite her, and said, in a low, controlled voice, I am Malik, and the letter, it's mine. Sophia looked at him, her face pale. The two stared at each other in silence, a silence that, from that moment on, would be the only thing they had in common. Malik, outside the hospital, looked at the horizon. Yasmin's voice, an echo in his mind, haunted him. I didn't choose the silence. It was the only thing they left me. Malik knew that. Now, the game had changed. The search for the truth was no longer a revenge for his father, but a protection for two women that the palace's silence had destroyed. And the woman with the blue scarf, who was she, and what role would she play in this story? Her story, like Amara's and Yasmin's, was just beginning.